Hello and welcome back to the Neutral Voice. I'm Samung Deb Barma. This podcast series is a space for thoughtful conversations on neutrality, judgment, and professional responsibility, grounded in real experience across disciplines where decisions shape outcomes beyond the room. Today we are joined by Mr. John J. Legg, a mediation practitioner based in Illinois with decades of experience across practice, teaching, and neutral roles. We'll be reflecting on how listening breaks down in difficult conversations, how those moments show up in the room, and what experienced neutrals notice before disputes escalate further. Mr. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you, Samung. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Been a member to FICM for a number of years. In 2019, when I spoke there in New Delhi, it's good to see a reorganized and re-energized organization. I'm happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. So, to begin with, when you think back to conversations that did not go well, whether in negotiation or mediation, what are some early moments where you now realize that people weren't really listening anymore, even though they were still talking?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
All right, okay.
No. That was an example. People not listening to you. Hello. Hi. All right, good. There you go. So, first of all, thank you. Here in Chicago, just land-based here in Chicago, United States here at this point.
Okay,
So
thank you.
it's wonderful. All our COVID skills, the communication now, it's as if we're in the same room. So that's how I approach it. So, yes, definitely as a neutral, again, you're something of a referee. When you see a prize fight or somebody else, you don't want to get involved too much. I always call mediation, first of all, is as it's called a guided negotiation. So you're somewhat of the guide. Sometimes you open your hands and suggest they go this way or suggest they do that. Sometimes you have to kind of push a little harder. That's the art of purposeful mediation, knowing when to allow them and they're going in the right path, or to kind of push them a little further or pull them back from the edge. So when, to answer your question, when things are going haywire, or people start doing this, pointing fingers, you're wrong, I'm right. When they get judgmental, that's where I find that the conversation goes off the tracks. You're getting too close to the edge, if you will. So I find too, again, as a general rule, judging has no value, understanding does. So if you tell them down, you're getting too animated, you're doing too something, you're being judgmental. So you want to be a peacemaker, be non-judgmental in your actions. I understand you feel strongly about such and such without judging. Like, wait a minute, that's wrong, you're right. You don't want to be judging. You don't want to promote or their judging of the other parties. Initially, it's good to have a bit of venting as long as it goes in the right way. Oftentimes, this is the only moment people have been in the same room. They have attorneys and letters and emails and nasty conversations. Again, the conversation going personal, that sort of thing. When it becomes this, I always say, you want to get to this. It's where it's conciliatory. So in a word, you have to be the referee, know when to step in and when to step back. And again, that's an art form. There's no one set manner to do so.
Thank you. So now, before a conversation fully derails, does it feel different in the room? And are there small shifts in tone, pace, or behavior that you've learned to notice over time?
Yes. Again, the nature of the dispute, first of all, if it's more of personal nature or if it's a business nature. Even business relationships become personal because it's their livelihood. So the nature of the dispute, you need to be aware of the nature. If it's a one-off, a car accident, they never saw each other before, never want to see each other again, it's less personal. But sometimes it is because you hit me, you run me over, you broke my arm, you didn't even say you're sorry. So there could be a personal animosity there too. Sometimes it may be just factual, perfunctory, that's good. Nature, divorce for one, that's highly emotionally charged. Intellect over emotion, but don't forget your heart is my sort of formula. You're a human being. You don't forget your heart, the compassion. Don't win everything. Don't take everything off the table just because you can't. Resolve it in a way you're concerned about what's best for you, but you don't want to hurt the other party too if you're truly a peacemaker. You want to get what's truly best for you, and if the other party gets what they think is best for them, that's an agreement you can live with. So again, I like to say you need to redirect the conversation. Initially, let the parties go at it a bit. First of all, let me say this. As a neutral, the mediator, you get them in the room. As a referee in a prize fight, you explain the rules of the game to them. Why you do it, they've all heard, their attorneys may or may not have. You assume their attorneys have explained mediation and what you're doing. Oftentimes they haven't. They don't even know who their client is. They pick the file up and somebody gave it to them. Your name is what's it? So the reality, you always say, I'm sure your attorneys explained this to you. However, bear with me. I'm going to explain it to you again because you never know if they did. And you say, we're all going to be nice, not interrupt people. We're going to give a little leeway here, but we want to be productive here. So why you do that, for one, to kind of get them to tone down. Later, when they go off the rails, when they're going towards the, did this, you did that, I'm going to win, I'll see you in court. Then you call them back, you say, remember, we all agreed, to get them to verbally agree. We all agreed to these terms? Yes, we do. Remember when we started an hour and a half ago at our 2-hour mediation here? We all agreed that we're going to do this. We're going to not interrupt and be respectful of each other, correct? Perhaps can we just, let's reset the tone here, reset the conversation. You use that, that's the hook earlier, and then you set the hook later. Now remember, use their words, their agreement to say, okay, yes, I did agree to play nice here. So that's one way to do it. Instead of telling them, as a mediator, as a guide, you don't want to be perceived as telling people what to do. If you're good at it, you really are telling. Your suggestions, your guide, you're kind of telling them, you better do this in a nice way. So they think you're suggesting, you get them to do what you really want them to do in a nice way where they accept it and come up with, and they think it's their own, if you will. So there's an art form there to do it. Judgmental is not good. You should do this. You should do that. You're being very rude. That's, nobody wants to hear that. Sit over here, do that. Nobody wants to be told. And again, if you find yourself pointing, it's like, hey, you. No, it's like more, would you mind doing this? So I understand you have strong feelings here. And they might be, you ruined my life. I hate you. The nature of the issues. I understand you have strong feelings here. However, let's redirect them into a productive conversation. So that's one technique. Use their agreement from the outset to pull them back from the edge.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. So again, when you talk about disputes, it involves people who genuinely believe that they are being fair and clear, yet still feel unheard. In situations like that, what do you find is usually missing from the conversation?
Let me put it this way. First of all, everybody thinks they're fair. The biggest, I'll use the term, jerk in the world thinks they're the nicest guy in the world, especially if they tell you, oh yeah, I'm fair, I'm nice. Politicians, we don't have to, any specific ones. It's pretty easy to find out, oh, I'm the smartest guy in the world. I passed a million tests. I'm smart, I'm good, I'm nice, I'm fair. They think in their mind. So what do? You're going to say, no, you're not? Are you going to battle their egos? There's no upside to that. That ego, sometimes I say, when you get these strong personalities, the alpha dogs, if you will, sometimes in jesting, if I know them, I might say, well, here, pull up an extra chair here for your ego. Sometimes you almost have to say that because their ego. Are you going to contest their ego? Well, I know more than you. You're the younger one. I'm experienced. Look at all these things on the wall, my awards. I'm a big deal. Are you going to beat them in that? No. Feed the ego. So generally, if they tend to be that strong, I know what I'm doing. I'm smart. I'm good. I'm nice. If you battle it, it's not going to go well because then you're in a side battle. Ask yourself, what's best for me? Battling the ego, will that matter? Will that get me what's truly best for me? Probably not. Will that get me further down the line toward resolution? You want to be on the path that way, going in the right direction. If you get off the road to see the world's largest rocking chair or ball of twine when you're on the highway, you're not going to be productive. You get sidetracked. Stay back on the path. And the path, and again, I say your goal is more of, it's not a particular destination resolution. It's a direction. You don't, even when you get in a negotiation, mediation, you have to be flexible. You don't know exactly what's going to be on the table. You have an idea. This is what I want. If you reformulate and you're honest with yourself, it's a bargaining exercise. It's more of a direction. And when you get to the right place, you'll know when you get there and say, yes, I'll agree to this. For one, don't battle the ego, and you can feed the ego a little bit. So you say, some attorney wants to go, I'm so-and-so, I know this, my position, or the party. I'm this, I'm the head of this company. We know everything. We're the best. You're just nobody. You're lucky I even dealt with you. Okay, and then you don't want to be condescending. You don't want to perceive weak. Say, yes, I understand you've been in business. That's why we wanted to go in business with you. You set the model worldwide here. We're a new startup company, mom and pop operation. We considered working with you value to us. So we thank you for that opportunity. Don't beat them up. Say, yes, thank you for that opportunity. However, our agreement here somehow seemed to be sidetracked. So what we'd like to do is repair our relationship and together go forward so to better for both of us. Reframe what they're saying a little bit. Use what they say. Don't mean them head to head on the egos because you're never going to win that battle. Mm-hmm. And use their energy and redirect it toward resolution. Again, there's a long answer to your question. I call it maybe an answer to a different one. the problem to the resolution. At one point, I call it the turning point. When I coach, I'll be in Paris in a few days at ICC. I'll tell this to them, and I mark this on an hour and a half mediation. I'll mark down where was the turning point. Where did they get away from this, the problem, toward the resolution. And there's when you use the productive energy. There's the art form for the mediator to redirect the passion, the energy, the problem to, okay, let's put it on the table, recognize it. Where do we go from here? We both realize we don't want to go to court. We don't want to take sticks and go beat each other up. You'd like to some days, but it never ends well in that respect. But when you get to it, how about this? What are we going to do to resolve this? Then you bring them in. Use their ego, their passion. I'm a big deal. Well, let's use you are very smart and intelligent. So what do you suggest? I want to hear what you say. Come up with some ideas. Get them to suggest the things you want them to do anyway.
Now, imagine being in the middle of a tense exchange where the conversation feels stuck or repetitive. What is the first small thing you tend to do or say to help slow things down or reset the discussion?
It would be when I call it like when they're stuck in the mud, like a car. If the problem, it's like the YouTube song, stuck in a moment you can't get out of. So how do you get them out of there? You just keep pushing the gas pedal, your wheels keep spinning in the mud or the snow. Yeah, how do you redirect that passion and energy? Acknowledge, I think, understand, again, not judge me. Like you two have been going about this, now you're judging. You two this, you two that, not you two, the band, the parties in the room. And you've been screaming, yelling, you both hate each other. That's judgmental and it's not productive. Here's what you take when it's productive discussion, you pull back, you literally pull back from the conversation a little bit. Every now and again, you have to go in there. And how do you break it up? Excuse me one moment, if you don't mind. Permission, always be nice. I always say find 100 different ways to say thank you, gratitude. If you don't mind, I appreciate this. It's very nice you do that. I heard what you said. Nice ways to acknowledge. People want to be acknowledged. People, first of all, in dispute resolution, they want their voices to be heard. This may be the only time they can have their voice heard by, if you're neutral, you're not a judge. You shouldn't be judgmental. Some are more than others, but they want some third party that's like, hey, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm the injured party. I just want what's fair, just, and right, all these types of things. Then you get them to explain, well, what is fairness? What is justice? What do you think? Specifically, that's a concept. So how you redirect them to specifics. That's a good technique too. All right, you said, I just want what's fair. You said they broke the law. You did the wrong thing. I did right. Okay, that's not right. You want what's fair, right? You want what's fair, right? And just, nobody's going to say, no, I'm a no-good son of a gun. Even the worst son of a gun in the world thinks they're fair. Are they going to project, oh, I'm fair and nice and generous and all? Because they'll admit, well, yes, I am generous, of course. So what does fairness look like to you? Then you get into specifics. That's the bargaining. What's on the table? Oh, we'll pay you $10, extend your contract or get you another job, make an apology, have confidentiality. So get them to get the passion directed and again to the right direction. Specifics. Pass the problem and direct them. You don't make clarification is another way to do it. First of all, I'd like to clarify. Here's what I heard you say. Not like, here's what you said. Nobody wants to be told this is what I said because then you're not hearing me. So it is. Here's what I understand you said. You wanted the apology is more important to you than money. Is that correct? And to get the other party to engage. Is that your understanding? So you're kind of directing and leading the discussion in a productive way other than the problem.
Okay. There are also moments when intervening too quickly can make things worse. How do you recognize situations where giving people a bit of space is more helpful than stepping in?
That's a good question. Knowing, again, when there's no set formula, okay? You don't take the stopwatch and go, okay, you have 2 minutes here, 5 minutes there. You kind of set the guidelines, but not stopwatches. So again, if it's productive, it's good. If they have a productive conversation with, again, initially it should start with pleasantries. Even if they don't like each other, at least the attorneys, the advocates in the room should at least be professional. The counsel, how are you, Bob? I see if you know him personally or not. The parties may dislike each other. They may have been, sometimes in divorce situations, there's been abusive relationships. They don't like each other. They want to like each other. They're never going to like each other. But they want to vent and get off this problem into a resolution, make the best of a bad scenario. So how do you do it? If it is productive, that's good. Every now and again, you still want to interject yourself to the conversation. There's a point if you're just sitting there like this. Again, facilitative mediation. Sometimes that means here's the facility. Here's a desk and a whiteboard whiteboard and a blackboard over here, and there's a bottle of water there, and I'll just let you know when our time is up. So what are we paying you for? So you want to be involved professionally. You have it. All the parties are playing this game of negotiation. Even you as a mediator, you're neutral, but you're playing a part. If you never have a mediation that ever resolves, it's not good for you or your profession either. So you want to be participating in it. You want to add value to the entire production, if you will, so the mediation. Again, it's an art form when to intercede and when not to. If it's you initially take charge a little, set the tone that yes, I am. People want an authority figure, even though you're not the judge here, but they're looking for somebody to lead the show, the process, and have an established, known process and mediation process. A little different around the world, but pretty much a universal concept. So they're looking to you to be that person without judgment. So if it's productive, it's good to let them go for a while. But the thing is, even in their mind, if they think they know what each other is saying, they think they understand the other party. To your point is understanding here, to be heard. They may be saying one thing and think the other party's hearing something that the other party is not. My understanding of what you're saying may be different from what you're projecting. So you want to clarify. And again, you break it in a nice way now. Stop right here. No, excuse me one moment. First of all, I think it's a very productive conversation. It sounds like you haven't really spoken to each other in 2 years. You probably spoke more here today than they have in 2 years. So you give them I think that's very productive. In a nice way, saying thank you, acknowledging something positive, and credit for positivity that's productive. And at that point, say, I think it would be productive. I heard a lot of things here. First of all, I'd like to put it on me in some respect. Like, I want to understand. You both know this. You live with it for 2 years. You're attorneys. You talk to it, depositions, all these things you've done. You know this problem more than I do. So I want to learn a little more. So I want to just clarify that, Bob, you mentioned money is more important than an apology. Is that correct? And then get the other party. That's where you test, if you will, what you're projecting and what they're hearing, the understanding part. So you write a few things down, some bullet points, some highlights. Thank you. So again, and then once you have some things and you get them kind of see the heads bobbing, yes, 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 then okay, now I think you were going to go, here's a way to redirect too. If you set an agenda, if they've gone over point 1 for 2 hours and they haven't gotten to point 2 and 3, you kind of redirect the conversation. I think it's been very productive on point number 1 here. So we only have, again, use the time. We don't say, is usually there's a finite time. We have 2 hours here, an hour, all day, whatever the case may be. We only have a half hour left. So how about we go back to point number 2 here, because let's have a little more discussion there. I think could be productive because we want to best use all of our time. If you think they've got some of a concept on one, direct them to another so that it's productive in the next one. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing surprises you in a way. When you think you've seen it all, you see something else. Just when you think, again, you want to make God laugh, tell God your plans, sort of thing. If you think it's all going well, all of a sudden out of the blue, whoa, did not see that coming. So you have to roll with the punches too. It's not just the parties who are like that emotional, what do? I call it when I teach students too, is like preloaded responses. You have to know going in as the neutral parties, attorneys, anybody going in. You can have all the plans in the world. Here it is, this piece of paper, my outline, and here's point A, B, C. And somewhere along the line, boom, throw it all out the door, and you're kind of you have to plan for the unexpected. So you have to have some preloaded responses so that you don't get drawn into the emotional reaction as opposed to the intellectual, purposeful action. And even as a mediator, if they say, look, this guy is John Lang. Who the hell is he? He doesn't know what he's doing. They may throw sticks at you, figuratively speaking. And you don't want to be like, hey, wait a minute. Now look at all these plaques on my wall here. I'm a big deal. No, you don't want to get yourself in an emotional reaction and ego battle. So you have to be able to let things bounce off and deflect. So preloaded responses. You may even say sometimes it has to be your particular style. Me, I interject humor a little bit, even in professional, important, emotional situations. A little lightheaded humor, but it's usually self-deprecating so that you're not pointing fingers at them. Well, I didn't see that coming before, or I didn't expect that, or wait a minute, maybe I misunderstood things. Put it on you a little bit, deflect it a little bit. You can just ignore it sometimes if they get out of hand. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a goof, you're this, you're that. All the personal superlatives that people might throw out there. And if the language gets a little too much, a little leeway. There's no finite rule. Okay, I think we're getting a little heated here. And ultimately, to your point, if it gets too crazy and you don't know really, it's like, okay, I need to rethink this. Peacemakers need to be at peace with themselves, so you have to let things roll with the punches. Caucuses, that's a good time. I think we've explored this. We have put it in a positive note. I think everybody's position is out there and very clear now. I hate you. You're a no good son of a gun. Well, I think everybody's positions are clarified now. I think that's a positive. We've agreed to disagree. That's the first agreement we have here. So you can kind of make light of it, if you will, but not telling funny jokes professionally, but tone it down. I think now actually put it on yourself. As your mediator, I'd like to better understand. I think your positions have been set there. I've heard you. I think I have a good handle. Don't say I know everything. I think I have a good understanding here. What I'd like to do is meet with counsel for the plaintiff and the plaintiff separately in the caucus. We've explained the caucus procedure here. So I think that would be productive, please. So there you're kind of like, all right, that's sort of a parent telling your kids, all right, 5-minute time out here, cool it down. Go in the hallway. So that's where you kind of toned it down a little bit. And then again, using the caucus, I think if you never use caucus in mediation, you're not really mediating, if you ask me. Sometimes people don't. We never caucus. We just do conference. Sometimes they only do caucus and not the conference. If you're not using all the tools available for mediation, you're not really exploring the benefits of mediation. So that's worst comes to worst. Don't get personally involved. Preloaded response. It's not about me. And then some people are people. And again, I'm a kinder, gentler soul, I like to think, than I was when I was 30 or something getting out of law school. So oftentimes you want to go, oh yeah, but not the preferred method. Yeah, you want to be a peacemaker, you need to project peace. So yes. I mean, mediation. To me, I teach a whole lot of mediation. So mediation. Again, negotiation is the top of the pyramid. Mediation is part of the negotiation. You use one, I think. Yes, you can train it, and it has to be just like resolution. The parties have to buy into it. The mediator has to go into it, understanding that what they think it is, it's probably not. Being open to suggestion, open to learning, open to experimenting and trying, and looking and learning and observing, just like you do anything in life. So in a particular style, I always make a point of this. You don't want to be me in a mediation. I don't want to be you in a mediation. This is just, again, younger and older not necessarily means anything. It's the experience level. With age, generally you get more experience. With the less experience, you don't know your particular style. You haven't played around with it. You haven't had experiential experiences through the years. So what is your particular style? So when we do simulations in law school mediation tournaments, I suggest after the first one, go outside of your comfort level. And I've done this in classes where you'll find some people are very quiet. They just sit there and they just nod their heads. They talk real slow. Okay, that's maybe their personal style, but you need to sometimes be the son of a gun in the room. I tell them why it's like a card game. I said, this time you're going to be that alpha dog. You're going to be project. No. This is the way it is. I'm going to do this. And you see afterwards, again, it's a simulation. Nobody gets hurt here. Again, afterwards, the students, he says, oh my God. I was like, oh, it takes them out of that comfort level. And they're like, oh my God, I'm not like that person. I'm like, oh, I was so mean. It's like, you get them, not only do you train them to be mean or anything, but you get that understanding of what it is, of when you're in the room with that person. You get the understanding, the empathy in the other way. So you get understanding of what's in their mind, how to best deal with them, as opposed to an emotional reaction. That's the purposeful intellectual actions. Thank you, Samung. Very pleasure to be here, and good luck. Namaste.